Measuring Angles Abstract Art with Ms. Boley. What are we going to make? We're going to make a piece of abstract art that we have created out of angles. What will you need? So you're going to need a pencil, and an eraser is nice to have, paper or your visual journal, a ruler, and a protractor to measure the angles that you draw. You'll need a marker. I'm using a Sharpie marker to draw my angles in the video, and I'm using pencil crayons to color, but you use whatever you have available. You could use markers to color and a pen to draw your angles, or a pencil to draw your angles, whatever works best. If you don't have a protractor, you do need to have something to measure the angles with. You can print out a protractor and use that instead. You might need to put your piece of paper onto a window or something to make it more see-through so you can actually read and measure the angles. So there is a printable protractor in the description box of this video if you need that. All right, let's get started. We're going to start out by using our ruler to draw a rectangle shape inside of our paper. So the reason why we're doing this is because we are going to have a little legend explaining what the colors are. And so we'll just leave a little space over on the left side or the right side of your page. So I'm just drawing. I'm not trying to make it a perfect square or anything like that. I'm just drawing. So there's kind of a border. If you want to print out the template provided, you can do that instead, or if you don't want to do that or don't have access to a printer, you can just draw the rectangle. All right, so I'm now taking my ruler and I'm just going to start drawing some lines randomly. I can do diagonal, I can do horizontal, I can do vertical, and anything in between, and I can have them meeting each other. I can have the lines meeting each other, or I can have them crossing over each other. And I'm just kind of doing whatever I kind of feel like. I'm not trying to make this look like anything. I just want to make sure that the page is divided up and I have lots of angles to measure. You can do less than maybe what I've done because I ended up with a lot of angles to measure. But I wanted to make sure that I have a combination of big shapes and small shapes. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, I like it, and I'm gonna start measuring angles. So this is kind of a review of how to measure angles. We want to make sure the bottom is lined up with the 0. And that one ended up being an 80 degrees. I know it's really hard to see the numbers on my protractor, but there we go. So I'm measuring that one there. And it ended up being 110 degrees. So I'm going to measure them. I'm going to measure all the angles on here. You can decide if there's a limit to how many you need to do, or a minimum for how many you need to do with your teacher. But I'm going to just measure every single one because I'm going to use that information to color code them. And it's going to add kind of a little random element to my art. So that one was 25 degrees. So let's just speed this process up. We'll measure those angles there. All right, I've measured, I think, all of them. I'm gonna find out later that I missed some of them, and that's all good. And now I'm going to create a legend, which is kind of like a little a way to indicate the color coding for the angle. So I've chosen 3 colors that are contrasting. You can choose kind of whatever 3 colors you like. A review of the different types of angles. So an acute angle is an angle that is smaller than 90 degrees, and a right angle is 90 degrees, and an obtuse angle is larger than 90 degrees. So when you go and measure all of your angles, you will then color them according to what kind of angle they are. So based on that review we just had, I'm gonna have the purple be my acute angles, and my blue is gonna be my right angles, and my yellow is going to be obtuse angles. So I'm just gonna write that onto my legend there, and then I'm going to begin coloring. So I'm gonna use a technique where I'm starting out with dark pressure, closer to the middle part of the angle where the 2 lines are intersecting. And then I'm going to kind of try to lighten up the pressure with my pencil crayon so that my color starts to blend in with the white. So I'm making a gradient. So that one was a 90 degrees, so it was a right angle. This one is 50 degrees, so that would be smaller than 90, so that's acute. And I'm going to repeat that same technique, but I'm using a different color of pencil crayon based on the legend that I created. And then that's 40 degrees, and so it will be purple. So I'm interested to see what kind of angles you ended up with more of. In mine, I ended up with a lot of acute and a lot of obtuse, and just a few right angles. So you can factor that in. You may end up with something similar or different, but you can factor that in when you're choosing your colors. So as I was coloring in each of the shapes, I realized I forgot to measure this angle. So that's all good. I can just grab my protractor out again and measure it and label it. Here we go. So that one was 130. So it's going to be obtuse. So it's going to be yellow. All right, so we're going to go super speed coloring and do a time lapse as I color the rest of the angles. And remember, if you realize that you forgot to measure one and you don't know what color to color it, then that's all good. Just get your protractor back out and measure it and label it. All right. And the results of this abstract art piece are really cool, and I can't wait to see what you create. And here is my finished product. I really like the bright yellow. Thanks for watching.